people chanting Johnny Hungy, people chanting like anything that I say and do. It's like so weird how that translates onto a TV product from us messing around on YouTube.
Well, you might be one of the most requested guests that I've had on my show. People are very hungry for John Silver.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
We are making this thing happen. Are you hungry today?
Yeah, actually, I got a leftover skirt steak in the fridge right now. So after this, I will be eating that.
So is this the secret to getting gigantic arms like yours?
Steak, lots of meat. I mean, they don't call me the meat man for nothing. So lots of meat.
It's not just food that you're hungry for, though, is it?
No, I mean, you'd be hungry for anything, really. I mean, it doesn't have to be strictly for food, but I do like to eat. So, but it could be anything.
Let's say in a typical day, how many meals are you eating?
So I usually do like 4 or 5 meals and then 2 protein shakes.
All right. So do the protein shakes also count as meals? So could we say like you're eating 6 meals a day?
So yeah, I guess so. So about like 6 meals a day.
So this is it. Just eat lots and I'll get gigantic arms like yours.
Lots of eating and lifting heavy.
Is there a certain technique I need in the gym? I did biceps today, but my arms are like half the size of yours. So what do I need to be doing?
I just try. It's hard to explain because I switch it up all the time. It's not the same stuff, but I try to just destroy everything. So it's like, if I'm doing biceps, I'm doing drop sets, I'm doing heavy, I'm doing supersets. I'm going until like they feel like they're gonna fall off.
Do you not get it where the next day or later that day you're in the shower and like you're trying to put shampoo on and you're like, oh man.
I feel like it doesn't happen anymore. I think my body's like somewhat used to getting beat up all the time. Like I still get better, but like it's nowhere. I remember when I first started working out like heavy and hard. I remember at one point I did legs and I worked at Modell's, which is like a sporting goods store, and someone was asking me for shoes and they're at the bottom. And I just slowly like reaching and they're like, what's wrong with you? I got legs. I can't bend my legs right now. But now I'll get sore. I did legs today. I'll be a little sore tomorrow, but I won't be that bad.
So you're saying you're just in a constant state of pain all the time and you've gotten used to it.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. He's in pain. So my body's just like, oh yeah, you're used to this.
I like that you touched on the fact that you worked at Modell's before. Like you were working like when you got hired by AEW, you still had like a, quote unquote real job, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. When I got hired, I was working at a gym called Lifetime as a trainer. But my girlfriend makes fun of me because I've had a million jobs, and it's just because it's just whatever that will let me still wrestle. So, I mean, since I was like 18, I've like worked at multiple pizza places, kickboxing instructor, Orange Theory, multiple different gyms. I've been like Modell's. I've been so many different like jobs that anything that will let me like I can make money, but also get off when I need to wrestle and stuff like that.
I saw in a shot of Brandy that you were also a bartender at one point.
Bartender, yeah. Not a good one though. I did like one of those bartending classes, and they teach you to make these fancy drinks that no one orders.
Right.
And they really teach you like the more practical stuff that you're probably going to have to know. So I worked at a dive bar. I just handed people beers mostly. And then like every once in a while you get that guy that asks for that like kind of complicated drink. So I just be like, yeah, I'll get it for 1 second. I start looking it up on like Google. I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that. But
what do you think's the most ridiculous drink that you had to make?
I don't think anything stands out too much. I mean, like just like it was for the most part, that bar was so hole in the wall that it was beers, Jack and Coke, JMO Ginger, and then we had like, so this bar had weird shots that it was like known for doing. I don't know if it wasn't as popular when I was working there, but I remember going there when I was younger, and it would just be like, one was like a cotton candy type shot, but it's like, it's not even alcohol. It's like on bullshit. The other one is, I guess it could be slightly offensive to say, but it was called the because this is what it looked like. It was called the bloody abortion shot, which might be offensive to say, but it was like red and it had Bailey's in it. And people would ask for that. I'm like, oh, it's really not alcohol. Like, you're drinking nothing, but people like that. So that's probably the weirdest one I had to make.
Well, those are the kind of shots that when people take them, they're like, oh man, we're going to get so messed up and it tastes great.
Yeah, if it tastes great, you're not going to get drunk.
So when you started working some dates for AEW, you were still working at the gym. You were still working that job.
Yeah, at Lifetime Fitness. So I got lucky because Alex also worked at Lifetime, but he worked at a different location. So I got hired because my boss used to wrestle. So he like loved the wrestling. Like, that's the only reason I got the job. I had like one, like that Lifetime, you need to have like a bunch of different certifications. You have to go like do this and that. I just had the one NASM certification. So like if I went there, I didn't know him, I wouldn't have got hired. But so he hired me. He got the deal. He's like, oh, you can have the day off. Just, when if you're gonna have Tuesdays and Wednesdays off and some of Thursdays off, just try to come in on your other days that you would be here. So I'd have to go in on like Fridays or Saturdays, but I would just bullshit so much. I was a bare minimum because I knew that's not what I wanted to do, but I still was like rather there or I was wrestling or that's all I did.
So at what point did you realize, all right, like wrestling is going to be the full-time job, like this AEW thing, it's happening?
I think once they when they actually put us in the Dark Order, because every time he went down to AEW, they always had like Matt Jackson always came up to us and had like an idea, but he always says stuff like very nonchalant. So I didn't think that's ever gonna happen. Because like the first time he went down, we lost to Santana and Ortiz in like a minute and a half. And we were like, at first we're pumped because we got hit up and they're like, hey, we want to book you guys for AEW. And it wasn't like we asked or anything. It wasn't like we hit people up. Like they came to us and said, we want to book you guys. So we're like, awesome, we're in. This is our big break. We're going to do it. We're going to have a TV match. And then when we get there, the board says local talent. And that was us. And I was like, oh shit, we could have been anyone really. So after that, we didn't really think we're going to come back or think we're going to do anything. But Matt Jackson came up to us. He's like, hey, I got this idea. Like maybe you guys just like come back like every week. And we just always announce you as like the local talent everywhere we go. And you just always lose. I'm like, whatever, I'll do it. I'll do whatever. Whoever gets a foot in the door, that's all I want. And then so the next time it was like 2 weeks off. So we thought, oh, we're never getting called back. And then hit us up for West Virginia.
Charleston, West Virginia. I was there.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. So they hit us up and we had the match with Trent and Chuck. And they flew us out. They put us in the hotel. They did all that because the first show was Philly. So we just drove home. They flew us out. It's like, okay, that's a good sign, right? That's a good sign. And then, it was basically just another match for them. And then Matt Jackson's like, hey, maybe like we'll put you in the Dark Order or something. I don't know. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, is it going to happen or not? Because then, like, I think it was another week or two we were off. And then eventually it started to progress and it was actually going to happen where we started filming vignettes and all that stuff. So I think once we actually got in the Dark Order, we're like, okay, we're in the Dark Order now. We have to be here, so that's when we kind of knew this is going to be our job.
I remember being in the production meeting and they were like, all right, so it's going to be these guys against the Beaver Boys. And I was like, what? The Beaver Boys? And everyone kind of in the meeting was like, yeah, sure. The Beaver Boys. But I don't think they actually announced that on TV though, did they?
No, they never announced the Beaver Boys. Once we started getting booked, we kind of knew they didn't really ask us anyway, but we knew we wanted to get away from the name. That was kind of like, we did it on the indies and it was like, it was a joke on the show I like called Tim and Eric. Where they did a
great show.
Yeah, they did a little skit. They did it a few times, but the Beaver Boys, and I'm just like, that's a funny name. Like, let's just be the Beaver Boys. And I was like, yeah, do it. So,
what is behind you right now? There's some incredibly impressive artwork What is going on here?
That's from Dodgeball. You ever seen Dodgeball?
This is Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
From purchase right there.
That's money well spent, I'd say.
Not bad. I actually enjoy it. So
he got into phenomenal shape for that movie.
Yeah, he looked great. He's been in like really good shape, and then he'll kind of like go back to regular, and then he'll get jacked up again. But yeah, he looked good.
Yeah, I remember watching that and being like, man, if Ben Stiller can get into that kind of shape, anyone can get into that kind of shape.
Yeah, he definitely worked out pretty well. That movie was great. The whole movie is fantastic, though.
Oh, I love that movie. So if you had all these other types of jobs along the way with the intention that you were going to be a wrestler, was wrestling plan A and there was zero plan B for you?
Pretty much. I think I would always was trying to think of stuff that I could actually enjoy, that I wasn't going to just hate my life doing, just in case wrestling didn't work out. But one thing I kind of told myself when I was young, I'm like, I gave myself till 30, but I probably would have went a little past that. But I'm like, if I don't make it by 30, maybe I'll just move to Hawaii or somewhere nice and just work on the resort, and I'll just do that. Because I'm not I need a fancy car. I need a lot of money. I just kind of like to enjoy myself and enjoy my life. So I'm like, maybe I'll just do that. Why not? But it never came to that. So we're good.
Well, you had a lot of steps along the way where it looked like, you were making these milestones along the way in that process, in that progress of becoming a pro wrestler. You made a ton of appearances on WWE. Did you ever think that any of those appearances would lead to you being in WWE?
No, because just the way they kind of they do stuff. If you're an extra, that I kind of realize that means nothing unless you have to be an extra, and you come in and you're 6'6" and jacked up. They might be like, oh, we could do something with this guy. But if you're not, they don't care. How many people have got signed because they got squashed and they like that? Colin Delaney, but
James Ellsworth. Yeah, there's very few.
I knew it wasn't very likely. And I think back in the day, sorry, my thumb's in the way. Back in the day, they used to have you do matches during the day, and they'd kind of see if they kind of liked you. Then I've done extra work a bunch of times, and I've had one match during the day.
Oh, who was that match with?
I was against Alex, actually.
Oh, okay.
So we had a good match. It was very, quick 5-minute match, but it was I'm looking around. I'm like, I don't know if anyone here is in position to hire anyone. So it's I don't know if this is for nothing, but people said they liked it, but I don't know. So I didn't, after any of those things, I didn't think anything would ever come out of it.
But you have a Tough Enough audition that's online. I watched it recently. It's pretty good. Did they encourage you? Did they go, hey, we've seen you backstage. We've seen you at a few events, maybe audition for Tough Enough?
No, they never said anything. They never responded to that Tough Enough thing.
But they put it on their YouTube channel.
Yeah, just put it on their YouTube. They knew it was good and entertaining, but I don't know what they're looking for the show. I thought I try to think of outside the box, because I knew everyone in the whole world was gonna be like, oh, it's my dream to be a wrestler, and I've always wanted. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna do some dumb stuff and be entertaining. It's all you can do. So, but they never hit me up. They just put it on their YouTube, and I'm like, awesome, it's on their YouTube. And then no one ever contacted me. So not even to ask me if they could put it on the YouTube.
Yeah. Well, you signed that away when you sent it to them, I'm sure.
It wasn't I'm mad or anything, but it was just put it up. They didn't even hit me up. They didn't even ask. They didn't say anything.
Yeah, it's kind of like a tease.
A second interview, nothing.
It's kind of a tease for them to go, we acknowledge this. It's good enough of all the auditions to put it on our YouTube channel. But yeah, we're not even going to reach out to you.
Yeah. So I don't know what they're looking for, but it wasn't me, I guess.
So was there a certain part of you when you went to AEW, saw your name on the board as local talent, that you went, oh man, here we go again?
Yeah, that's what. So I think like for a while, me and Alex were like, damn, we need to like make stuff happen now. Like we kind of put AEW on our like number one. Like we wanted to get there more than WWE or anywhere else. But you know, we went to AEW, we were pumped, and then once we sold up the town, we're like, oh, back to being depressed again. This is we're back to, as if nothing happened in a sense. And we're used to like, if you go to WWE, you extra work, it's almost like they don't even care. Like you're not going to get looked at all. So luckily AEW is different than that. And you can see that even with like now, a lot of people that have been extras recently have gotten signed. So but it was at first, when we first saw that, it was pretty depressing. We're like, it could have been anyone, but we just happened to be here. So, but I mean, it worked out. But once we saw that, we were very, pretty upset.
Well, it doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter now because it all works out. But was there somebody that you felt you needed to win over, whether it was in the ring with what you did or backstage? Is there someone you felt you had to win over to try to come back more than once?
Well, we knew the Bucks, and we've wrestled the Bucks before, so we knew like we didn't. I mean, not that we didn't need to impress them, but like they knew who we are. They knew we could wrestle and stuff like that. We wanted to make sure Tony saw everything, and Cody. So after the show, we like try to stay around and try to find them and just make sure we said again like thank you for the opportunity and all that stuff. But it was mostly just hoping that those two would at least see it and hopefully enjoy it.
And when you became part of the Dark Order, you're like, yes, like I'm going to be part of a faction. We're going to be here all the time. But at the same time, like I got to wear a mask.
Yeah. So it was like weird. Like I feel like there was like a conversation, but it wasn't really a conversation on the mask situation, because they gave us the masks and then we thought like we were just going to come to the ring with the masks on and then like as like an entrance type thing and then take it off when we wrestle. They're like, no, we'll do the opposite way. You come to the ring because they already know what your face looks like. Come to the ring without the mask on, and then you put them on when you wrestle. I'm like, oh, I don't want to wrestle with a mask again. Like I've wrestled in Chikara with a mask and it's not fun. So I was okay. I mean, I'm obviously happy just to be there and stuff like that, but I'm like, oh, I got to put the mask on. It's tight. Sometimes it moves around. You can't see as good as you normally could, but I didn't mind it. But it was just like they gave us the masks and they were pretty crappy masks. Then we're like, we need to make our own ones, obviously. So we had to have a conversation, I think, with Christopher Daniels. We're like, hey, should I buy a mask? Because no one knew, like, is it going to be a quick thing? Is it going to be have it for a few shows? So he's like, yeah, just get the mask and we'll see what happens. And then it ended up being like a few months that we had to wear it. But yeah, I knew, I'm like, I need to get something that is good on the beard, because the first mask just did this and I'm like, I can't wrestle like that. Let me show the beard a little bit. But yeah, I knew how to get at least a custom mask.
So where did the conversation start to open up where it was like, we don't need to wear masks when we wrestle?
That's when like BTE and stuff like that happened. Once we started, like the people started really like us on BT and and enjoy what we're doing. Tony watches it, so he like knew that was happening, and I was gonna ask eventually, like, hey, can we like not wear the masks? Like, I don't think anymore. But eventually Tony's like, hey, don't wear the mask. You gotta show your face. You got all this character here. Why are you wearing a mask? I'm like, I don't want to wear the mask. But I'm lucky he said something eventually. But like, I thought it was funny. He like said it as if I was like, yeah, I want to wear this mask all the time.
You were like, thank God I don't have to wear this mask anymore.
And I remember Stu, because Stu's crazy. He's like, oh, we have to think of an idea to make sense that you take off the mask. I'm like, no, Tony told I to take it off. It's done. I'm never wearing it again. That's it.
BTE's like completely changed your career, I feel like.
100%. Yeah.
So definitely. how did you, like, that's a very coveted spot. And maybe, some people make a cameo on BTE, but now you're a guy. You're on BTE frequently. So how did that come into fruition?
So I don't know if it was Uno's idea or if it was Matt Jackson's idea for us, but he mentioned it to Uno, like, hey, maybe you guys do like recruitment bits or something like that for BTE, or I forgot who brought it up. But then Uno was like, oh, I think maybe that'll be good for Johnny and Alex. So we tried to film. The first thing we filmed was a reason why we're trying to recruit people. And the first idea was just going to be me and Alex, which we did those recruitment videos also, where it was just me and Alex recruiting people. But we had to think of a way for it to start there. So we had us in the room. Brodie comes in, papers, throws the papers at Uno. And then, like, we just that bit, we saw like so many comments about, that whole bit. And you could see me and Alex like holding our laughter. So once we did that, we're like, okay, we need to film stuff. Like, we just need to keep on filming. Like, we'll do the recruitment bits too, but like now, like, we need Brodie, we need the whole group, we need like other stuff as well, because it was just too good. Like we were laughing in it. People were commenting how much they liked that, just the papers itself. So we're like, let's just keep it rolling. Let's just keep on doing it.
It's amazing when you watch how BTE is filmed, because it's just a few guys with a few cameras. You don't really think anything of it because it's just, a handful of people while you're doing it. Unlike when you're on Dynamite and you've got this entire crew and a production truck and everything. It's amazing the reach that something like Being the Elite has when it's really just a few guys and some cameras.
Yeah. It's so weird because it's just 100% our ideas, 100% stuff that we say. Like, it's just us being us. It's not, no one's telling us to do anything. It's just whatever we want to do. So it's cool that the people are liking it, because that means they're just liking us as people. It's not even, there's not like much of a character I'm playing. It's just me us joking around, really. And it's like crazy how much that affects Dynamite. And if you do stuff on BTE, people in the crowd are going to start chanting it at Dynamite shows. Or, even like right now we have like a few people in the crowd. We don't have like 500. I forgot how many people we let in, but people chanting Johnny Hungy, people chanting like anything that I say and do. It's like so weird how that translates onto a TV product from us messing around on YouTube,
Well, you're so over right now, and the Dark Order is so over right now because of Being the Elite.
Yeah, 100%. We thought we were going to get, me and Alex at least thought we were going to get fired because when the pandemic hit, we couldn't do, New York was locked down, so we couldn't go to any shows. And then Stu and Uno are from Canada, they couldn't do any shows. And then, we had Brodie do his debut. And then after that, like, we weren't there, so they added 5 and 10. And we were just like, oh, that's it. Those are the replacements, because they both also, I think they both go to Cody's school, the Nightmare Factory. So we're like, oh, okay, that's, their guys. We're getting replaced. So we came back. When we eventually came back, we were kind of in bad spirits, me and Alex, and then we just decided to do the BTE stuff, and then that just completely changed everything.
Man, I feel like all these stories that you're telling is like this constant state of anxiety of like, this might happen, but it probably won't happen.
Yeah, that's been my life. Now it's been fine. I've been feeling great now, but like before AEW, then even still when we got into AEW, and then now I feel good and I feel comfortable for once, which is nice, I guess.
Hey, you deserve it. You deserve to feel that way.
Thank you.
Take me back to the first time that you met Alex.
I was 14 years old. I started training when I was 14. Alex, I think, was 18. I think he's 4 years older than me, and he started training. So he started training about a week or two before I did at NYWC in Long Island. So I went down. I started training, and Mikey Whipwreck was a trainer. He's very basics. So you got to do all the basics right. So we took about 3 months or two to 3 months before we were even allowed in the ring. It was all chain wrestling on the outside. And then every once in a while I'd be like, all right, get in the ring, do some rolls. That was about it. But so then we, all the people, there was like 8 new people around the same time. So we all stayed together, I think out of all those 8, me and Alex are the only people that kept on wrestling. Like everyone quit, throughout the, like a month. This guy's out in a week. This guy, so we're the only ones that stayed together. And then we realized that Alex lives pretty close to where I live, and I'm 14, so I couldn't drive. So I would always ask for like a ride home and have my mom drive me to practice and then or training, and then Alex would drive me home. So, multiple car rides. It's about 15, 20 minutes from the training place to my house. So we just always ride home. And then eventually, like, once people started to like us a little bit in training, like Trent was there, and some of the other guys, like a lot of times you go to Taco Bell after training and get food, and then we go home. So just us, that's how we all became like friends, really.
I feel like I didn't even know you could wrestle at 14. I thought you had to be 18 to start training.
I don't think it was legal, or at least I think it's legal to train. I don't think it was legal for me to be on shows, but I started on shows when I was 16. But yeah, I called up and I asked, and they knew, like, I told them I was a wrestler in high school. I played soccer. They're like, oh, if you're athletic and your mom and your parents or whatever is cool with it, we could sign you up. Just come down, check it out first, and we'll see where it goes from there. So they were cool with it. I think their like normal rule was 16 to start training, but they're like, you're in shape. You can do this.
You're like, yeah, you already have a full beard, I'm sure, at 14. Sure.
Then I could always grow facial hair, but I never even tried this back then. 14. I think I was clean shaven as 14. Yeah.
Probably the last time you were clean shaven, right?
I think slowly went on. I did little stuff with my facial hair. 18, I definitely had a beard, but it was a short beard. I think I did a little, like just the chin goatee thing.
Oh, like the Fred Durst.
Yeah, kind of like that, but not just the chin. Like I think he did like a little bit like here too, and then like I just did just this. But yeah, I think I just slowly. I think that's what I did. I definitely had that at one point in my life.
At what point in your life did you decide wrestling's it? I want to be a pro wrestler when I grow up.
It's like weird because like so many people have like the story of, oh, when I saw this match, I knew I had to be a wrestler. I just didn't. I never had that. I just was like, I'd watch it as a kid. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a wrestler, obviously. Like, what else am I gonna do? Like, there was no like, I think right now I'm gonna be a wrestler. It just like, yeah, I watch wrestling. So I love watching it every week. I'm gonna be a wrestler, of course. So there really was like no moment. I just always knew that's kind of what I liked, and that's what I wanted to do. I mean, back then you don't really think it's definitely going to happen because I started watching 4, 5, 6 years old around there. So you're not like, yeah, it's definitely going to happen, but that's what you dreamed of doing since I started watching it.
Were you also into backyard wrestling?
Yeah, but like not like the crazy stuff that everyone was doing. Like back then it was like crazy hardcore jumping off houses. Like I eventually had a trampoline, so I'd do stuff on there.
Of course.
Yeah. So then I met a few people that also did some backyard wrestling, but we made like one music video and that was it. And then like we were supposed to have one show and got canceled. I was like trying to get there, like, oh, we canceled it. Sorry. I'm like, oh damn. But I tried to find that video, but I couldn't find it. Back then I was scared to do like anything. I was scared to do backflips. I was scared to do even on a trampoline. I was probably 14 or 15. So I think it was probably like 14. It was probably right before, like as I started training. But so I would do like just the easy stuff. But I did backyard wrestling. My brother, I would kill him stuff because he would be like my like all my moves would be on him. He was a lot smaller than me, so I would just throw him around and stuff like that. So I feel bad for. Actually, I pounced him. I did a pounce because that's the Marty Brown.
Yeah.
I pounced him. We had a net up. He went right through the net somehow. The whole thing collapsed and just landed because we had our backyard is concrete. Landed right on the concrete, and he just crying. I felt really bad. But I beat him up a lot. But I mean, it helped me, I guess. I don't know.
And I feel like if we look at your career, there's been a few markers where things have really, taken it to the next level. We mentioned a few: the AEW debut, BTE, the Dark Order. But I feel like when Brodie came in as the Exalted One in the Dark Order, that's when the Dark Order started to be taken a lot more seriously than it was before. But it wasn't always going to be Brodie as the Exalted One. Like, there were a lot of other rumors. Like it was possibly maybe Marty Scurll, maybe Matt Hardy. Did you know it was going to be Brodie?
So they told us originally, like, oh, there's going to be an Exalted One, and it's going to be the leader of you guys. I'm like, cool. I think the first one was Matt Hardy, I believe. And
Which
like,
is what everyone kind of thought.
Yeah, it's like he could do the, freaking the gimmick he was doing. What the hell is it called? The broken mat. Sorry,
right.
Broken mat with you guys. I'm like, oh, that'd be really cool. And there's like, we have ideas of even like getting like thousands of people in mass, like, doing something at the compound or something. And I'm like, oh, that sounds amazing. This is really cool. That was the first name we were told. I'm not sure if that was like definitely the first thing that was definitely going to happen. I don't think it was ever going to be Marty. I know people always think that it was going to be Marty at one point. At least like the first time we talked to the Bucks, they're like, they mentioned Matt Hardy. Then it's like, I don't think Scurll. Like, it could be Scurll, but I don't think that would fit well. So at least from the first of my knowledge, it wasn't never going to be him. And then like, oh, it could also maybe be Brodie. So we kind of knew. It seemed like they were more into Matt Hardy at that point, but they also did mention it could be Brodie. But it was those three names are mentioned, and it was definitely Matt or Brodie. I was down for either, obviously. I thought either could be super cool and different, but I like the way. I think with Brodie, it made the most sense. Just the way the character went, like, and what we were. Like, Matt would have been, he was a face, really, so he would have had to make the broken Matt gimmick heel again, but I think he was too likable at that point, so it would have been a weird dynamic. But Brodie came in as this like douchebag cult leader boss, and it was just, I thought it worked really well.
I thought that the tribute show for Brodie was just so beautifully done. And I'm curious, how difficult was it for you to wrestle on that show?
Yeah, I'm a pretty emotional guy, so that was difficult, but I thought I was going to be worse. Cause I, like I said, I'm very emotional. So, it was difficult. The whole day was difficult. Like, being around people that it was good too, but it was also like, I can't stop thinking about this, the match itself, like, I went out there. Well, so if you look at the first match was on the card was the Colts match. And if you look, I wasn't there during the entrance. I come in late because I went to the back. I went to our room and I was just kind of like, I was just not in a good mood, and I totally forgot Colt was up, and I forgot we had to do the entrance. So I heard the music, and I'm like, screw it! I freaking started running there, and I come in the last second. So like, you don't see me come out with them, and then once Colt eventually does the pose, like, I'm there. But yeah, I went to the back, and I wasn't in good spirits then. But then the match itself was, I got out there, and I'm like, okay, I have the match on my mind. Like, it's like taking me, I know it's in a sense kind of taking me away from, Brodie, but it's, so I had something to think about,
Yeah.
but it was like right after, once I hit the line, it all hit me at once. So that was very difficult, but it was just it all hit me at once. So
Yeah. When you think of Brodie Lee, what is it that comes to mind for you?
he was the man. I mean, he was just such a happy, good guy. Like, there was no like negativity. He was always like laughing. He always had this really big smile, especially with his freaking big beard he'd always have on. But he was just a good guy. I mean, I told the story on my social media, but he bought the ring jacket I have. He bought that for me just because he thought it would help me look more like a star if I had that ring jacket. And then he also bought me matching gear that I wore at the Brodie show. It was just supposed to be for a BTE sketch. And then I asked him, he's like, I want to buy you this stuff. It's going to be cool. I'm like, man, that's amazing. That's so nice of you. Like, whatever. And then I'm like, what's the BT sketch? He's like, I don't know. We'll think of something though. So he didn't even have a real idea in mind. He just thought, it'd be funny if maybe Silver dresses like me one day.
Oh,
so he
wow.
and like it wasn't like some cheap gear jacket. Like altogether was over $1,000 that he spent on me that he didn't have to. I never asked for it. Just because he thought that would all be good for me and good for BTE and the skits we do. And so he's just the like super nice, always positive, not like, I don't think anyone has a bad thing to ever say about him. He was just really not like such a good guy, like a genuine guy. And he was, I mean, so funny too. Like, as you can see on BTE, so freaking funny. And he would do this and it would like almost annoy me at some points because he'd try to film BTE and we're trying to get through these sketches and he'd purposely try his absolute hardest to make me laugh. But I'm like, if I laugh, then we gotta do it again. So he would like, you see so many sketches of him getting right into my face and screaming shit at me and just trying to make me laugh. And it always worked. So that's why we had to do the, like, we'd always start pretending we were crying because we're just laughing. Or he would just really say, are you crying? It was just because we're always laughing because it was so funny.
It's clear that he saw something in you. Like, he wouldn't go out of his way to do all of that to buy you the gear if you were just, just another wrestler.
Yeah, he was thrilled because, he came in, big debut, had a title match going well, had the TNT title. And then Tony, he got real excited. Tony told him that he wanted to do like a Stevie and Raven gimmick with us. So I'd be like his Stevie to his Raven. And he was so excited for that. So I think he's like, oh, we need to make this good. And I was pumped. I'm like, hell yeah, we get to do some funny stuff on Dynamite. Like we did the one thing where he's having a promo in the ring, and I think he's celebrating the TNT title win, and I just grabbed the mic and I'm like, "You the man, Brodie. You the man." And he just punches me in the face. Like, so we started a little bit. We never really got to do what we wanted to do, but he was thrilled for that, and he was just really happy at that point.
It's so hard to boo the Dark Order now with all of that said. Like, you guys have in effect become baby faces.
Yeah, 100%. We knew it was going to happen eventually, but we kind of thought it would just be probably like me and maybe Alex, but now it has to be all of us. It has been like, we didn't have to do anything too crazy. We had to just be baby faces at that point.
We've heard Alex's side of how things went when he got knocked loopy in the ring. What was your reaction to seeing that and seeing your best friend there, like, pretty out of it?
Well, I didn't know until I think Billy Gunn was on the side. I think he realized because I didn't see it happen. I was on the floor, and then Alex is in the corner. So I go up to Alex, and he was fine talking to me. So I go up to Alex because we had to do
something during the match. During
the match, so we had to do something coming up in the match. So I go up to Alex. He's laying in the corner, and I'm like, Alex. I'm like, are you? Billy Gunn's like, check on Alex. So I checked. I went, Alex, you good? He's like, yeah, I'm good. But he's just laying there. I'm like, all right, well, this is our thing right here. This is our spot. So then he starts to get up, and I'm like, oh no, he isn't good. But the way he was talking to me was fine. It wasn't like, slurring or anything weird. And I didn't see anything that happened. So I'm just down on the ground, and then I look up. Alex is laying. Alex, you good? Yeah, I'm good. Okay, cool. Well, this is what we got. We got to go up. We got to do our spot now, Al. So once he got moving, so it's like, it's so hard to, like, I could have grabbed him and pushed him down and then did everything by myself. But at that point, he's up and he's there. It would have, so I'm like, and it was like so quick that he got up, and I was going to try to tell Nick, hey, he's messed up. But it was, at that point, he's already doing everything. So I think I said it to Nick as that's going on, but I don't know if he heard me or not. But he realized too pretty quickly that Alex was a little messed up there.
But he wasn't ever knocked out. And I think that there was a real misconception there. He wasn't like knocked unconscious.
Yeah. So people like, there's different ways that you can get knocked or knocked out or knocked for a loop or whatever. Like some people are, if you can get knocked completely out, you're unconscious, you're laying there, you're nothing's going on.
Right.
Then there's things like you see in, especially the UFC fights, someone gets knocked and they're still moving, they're still up, but their body is just not cooperating with them. Like
Right.
these legs all on, on like skates, then there's also, which happened to me before, not in AEW, somewhere else, but I've got knocked out where actually my brain wasn't there, but my body still did everything it was supposed to do. So that's a different way to get knocked out too. And a lot of people, like you see, like probably heard stories of like finishing matches and not knowing what happened.
Yeah. Like I think Kurt Angle's famously did that when he got pedigreed through the table and the table broke too early, finished the match, doesn't remember any of it.
Yeah. So that could happen too. So it's weird. And Alex had the one where his body wasn't cooperating with his mind.
Wow.
I don't know which one's better, which one's worse, but that's why it's tough, because I asked him if he's okay. He says yes. And then he was.
Wow. Who would you say have been your mentors or currently are your mentors in wrestling?
I mean, obviously I got to go with Mikey Whipwreck, because he trained us.
Yeah.
And we were like his last like real students at NWBC. So eventually he, I think, moved to Pennsylvania and he wasn't there as much. So got to go with Mikey. I mean, I've had so many people that were like, I started wrestling and just helped me out a lot. Like Trent was big. Like he was my first, like, we call it a mini match, like just a match, like practice match backstage. He was the first one I had, and he wanted to wrestle me, and he made me do like cool stuff. And then people were like, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that cool stuff. You did your first match ever." And Trent just like, "Yeah, I wanted him to do it. That's what I wanted him to do." Trent, people like even like Dan Barry, you could say Alex, Tony Nese. There's a lot of people, especially from like NYWC, that I can kind of name from there as well. But I think those are the main ones, like people that just always trying to help, like taking me on the road with them, stuff like that. I mean, we get like other ones too. Like, I guess I could maybe even say Eddie Kingston, just from wrestling him a bunch, and Chikara road trips, and a lot of Chikara guys too. Because when I was doing that, I was like 20 and 21 years old. I think I started at 20. So like I was wrestling people like Jigsaw and Kingston, and a lot of like their big names at that point, which is pretty cool, and that kind of helped my career a lot. So even a lot, just being around those guys all the time, having matches with them, just really helped, I think, my development.
Yeah. This may sound like a ridiculous question, but is Jon Silver your real name?
Yeah, real name.
Okay. All right. So did your parents realize they were naming you after a pirate?
Well, it's actually my dad's name also. So
okay, so you're Jon Silver Jr.
Not really. I think like a junior is if you have the same exact name. So we have different middle names. I don't think my dad has a middle name. I think he does have middle. We just have different middle. So I was never just named Jon Silver Jr. Like, I mean, some of his friends be like, "Oh, it's Junior," but it's not part of my name. Okay, so your dad was named after a pirate, and then you're now named after a pirate. Yeah, I guess so.
When you saw Long John Silver's The Restaurant the first time, were you like, that place is named after me?
I don't remember the first time I saw it, but I was like, oh, I wish I liked the food. I'm not a seafood guy. I don't like seafood at all. I mean, I like some sushi and stuff like that, but I wish I liked seafood so I can go there and be like, hey, this is, it's my name, Jon Silver, but I've never been there before, but yeah, I don't know.
So at what age do you realize my name is famous outside of me?
I'm probably young because, once you hear there is a pirate named Jon Silver, it wasn't a real pirate. It was based on a book. So it was like a famous book. And then people just know Long John Silver. And then you see Long John Silver's the restaurant. So I knew it was like, okay, this is like, it's a famous name. At a pretty young age, definitely, because, you know, you go to kindergarten class and your teacher's like, oh, like Long John Silver. And I'm like, sure, yeah, okay. It's like the pirate. Like, cool. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Did it ever make you second guess your wrestling name?
No, I there was no other name in my head I had. It was always, I'm just gonna be John Silver. Like,
Could be John Gold.
no. I remember I used to play soccer one time when I was young, and there was back then we used to have our names on the back of our shirt, and one of the kids on the other team name was Gold. So I tried to kick his ass, I guess, a little bit. We played soccer rough when I was young, so it was like we're throwing checks, we're throwing like kicks, like it was rough. So I'm like, I don't like this kid.
I mean, it's just you could have been Johnny Silver, I guess. And then there wouldn't have been as. I guess you're kind of Johnny Silver now, right?
Yeah, it depends on what people call me. I mean, so many people call me Johnny. So like growing up, people call me just Silver. So I'm like, I guess my wrestling name is John Silver, but people call me Johnny. Whatever they call me, they call me.
Does anyone call you Jonathan?
No, because that's not my name.
It's really just John?
It's John, yeah.
Oh, that is very rare for that.
Yeah, no Jonathan, just regular old John.
So what's next for John Silver? What are some goals that you want to cross off your list?
I mean, I got a bunch. I mean, I just always want to keep the ball rolling forward. You never want to like stop. So, I mean, right now I really cannot wait until the crowds come back, like the full force crowds. I feel like that's gonna be a whole different world. But a lot of stuff. I mean, obviously, I just always want to be relevant where I'm always on TV. You never want to fall off TV for a few weeks or like a few months. Some people, So that's the main thing. Just at least always being relevant on TV. But of course, you want to win the belts. Obviously, people always tweet me like, "Oh, I can't wait for John Silver to win the TNT title." I'm like, hopefully one day, or the tag titles, or the world title. Why not?
Yeah.
But you always want to keep on improving, and even when you get there, then it's like, okay, like I don't like to ever stop. I don't feel like we're talking about being comfortable. Like I said, us being comfortable where I'm not constant anxiety now, but it's always not comfortable as well, and that's a good thing. So then you keep on moving forward. Yeah, the TNT title would be great. Even just like more pay-per-view matches. I was thrilled when I had my first pay-per-view match with Orange Cassidy. That was a big thing. Actually, I got real emotional. Like I said, I was an emotional guy, but my music hit. I'm walking out and I'm like, oh no, not right now. So I'm like, I got a little teary. Yeah, I got a little teary-eyed. I think my mom was there too that day, so that was pretty cool. But the belts, I can't wait for an action figure too. Hopefully this year, I want an action figure.
I'm sure it's coming.
I hope so.
You walk a really interesting line because you're a single star, but also part of a tag team. It's actually great that you can kind of dabble in both.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm still a tag team, but Tony's been kind of putting me with some single stuff, so I'm just kind of doing what I like to wrestle singles. I like to wrestle tag, so I'm kind of happy with either. As long as I'm wrestling, I'm happy. As long as I'm out there, I'm happy. And as long as I'm progressing, I'm happy. So yeah, it's a little weird. Like, hey, you have a singles match on pay-per-view. I was like, okay, that's really cool, but different because by that point I was only doing tags, I think, at that point. So it was just something completely different.
Yeah. I saw on Instagram yesterday that you did a killer Robert De Niro.
Oh yeah. I sure do.
Have you always had this?
Yeah, I just randomly try to do his face, and sometimes I actually look back at it, and sometimes it's not good because I just laugh.
No, this was good. Give it to us. This was very good.
You talking to me, huh? You talking to me?
Good.
So that brings me to, I might as well promote this too. I've started a new YouTube page. I haven't posted it. Well, I don't know when this airs, but tomorrow is when I post. This is filmed on Monday. I don't know when you're posting this, but every week I'm trying to drop a new video of wrestlers recreating movie scenes. So,
Okay. So where can people subscribe to this? Because everybody's going to want to subscribe to this.
so it's under my YouTube channel name is, I think it's just the Meat Man. I made it like a while ago, or Meat Man, but the videos are going to be under the silver screen, and then the first Anchor Man. So the first one will be Anchor Man. It's going to be me as Ron Burgundy. We got 10 is Brick. Cal is Evil Uno, and I can't remember the last guy's name, the guy with the long hair in Anchorman, but that's going to be Alex. Obviously, the hair guy is going to be Alex. And
Brian Fantana?
Yes, Brian Fantana. There it is. But that's the first scene we do. Also, I have the Sandlot already filmed.
Oh my gosh.
Got a lot of good stuff coming. So it's going to be pretty funny.
Well, good. I will find the link, and we will put the link down below so that everybody watching this can subscribe to it.
Perfect.
This has been such a delight, Jon Silver.
Oh, thank you. It was fun too.
No, thank you. I'm a big gratitude person. Gratitude drives my life, and I end every interview by asking you, what are 3 things that you're grateful for in your life right now?
Oh my God. I mean, obviously where I'm at in life in general, I know it's pretty broad, but like I've worked my whole life to get to where I am right now. And so you could say, I guess I'll put that as my career, my wrestling career. I'm so so happy for that. So happy I have so many, I'd say my fans too. There's so many people that I get a lot of messages. Like I have my DMs open and I don't really respond to a lot of them because I get a lot of them. And then I'd feel bad if I don't respond to some. So I do see them eventually. But there's some stories that people are so genuinely moved. I don't know what the right word is, so happy if I do, if to see me wrestle or to see me on BTE or just see me post dumb stuff on the internet. So it's crazy how I affect people's lives in such a positive way.
Like they're sharing in your joy with you.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, it's weird, but good weird, not in a weird, bad weird. So I do love to see that too. So I got to say, obviously my fans, and I've had my whole life, like I said, I mentioned, my mom driving me to wrestling training my whole life. So I think my support system was always good. My parents, obviously they always were maybe you should get another job, maybe you should try looking into this, doing that, but they were always very supportive. If I didn't have them, I would have had to drop out and not had to do, I would have had to do something else. So parents, and even my brother and my sister and my friends, my friends would make fun of me sometimes every once in a while, but they were always very supportive of everything I do. So, I mean, if they weren't a part of this, I wouldn't be where I am.
I love it. Well, like I said off the top, people were very excited to have you on the show. So I'm so glad we were able to make this happen. So I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
And now you can go get to that skirt steak that you were talking about.
Pump for it.
It's hungry.
Johnny Hungry.